Last year I did a video called The State of Cinemassacre 2022, and since I only watch the nerd videos and don't really keep up with anything else the channel does, I figured this would be a good opportunity to sit back and see what old Bimmy's been up to this past year. So stick around as we do an autopsy of a once great channel. This is Dancing with Ghosts. Ever since the slobs have been mopped up and shoved out of frame, Cinemassacre as a whole has been a lot easier on my eyeballs, but the caliber of watchable content remains shockingly low. I combed through the past year of Cinemassacre's output and noticed that there are basically 4 main categories of the channel that have become the new norm. Obviously, we have the bread and butter of the channel, the angry video game nerd. James had a fairly productive year this year with his nerd videos, with a new episode coming out every 2 months, making a total of 6 episodes. Now, this goes without saying, but I'm just going to say it anyway for the newly initiated. The nerd character is beyond played out. He hasn't been funny in a very long time, and I find myself watching these new episodes simply out of some weird Pavlovian habit. I've said this before, but it really doesn't help when he starts off every fucking episode with a 2-minute ad for ExpressVPN. It's like if I went to go see Slipknot and lead singer Corey Taylor started their show off by reading an advertisement for Crest White strips in this friendly-ass voice, and then went right into their first song and expected the audience to believe that he really is this angry guy with all these issues. All I'm saying is at least make an attempt to immerse me in the character and let me suspend some disbelief for 20 minutes, but nope. The slobs have dictated brand deals at the beginning of every episode, so brand deals there shall be. As far as the episodes themselves, some are more tolerable than others, and that's really all you can hope for these days when it comes to the nerd. It's like, oh, look, James put out a new nerd episode. Let's see if I can tolerate it long enough to pay attention throughout the entire video. This year, James covered Kid Icarus, the Earthworm Jim trilogy, more Indiana Jones games. James will never miss an opportunity to tie in one of his reviews with an upcoming movie, and at the time it was the Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, cue diarrhea dial joke here.
That's not mud. Oh. This isn't the dial. This is the diarrhea dial!
He did A Boy and His Blob, fucking Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Again, this dead meme from early on in his channel is being kept on life support at this point. I don't know why James has such an obsession with constantly revisiting this stupid fucking game, but it's just another example of how this character has jumped the shark. The final nerd game for 2023 was dropped very recently, and that was his review for the Super Nintendo classic Final Fantasy III. Yes, we all know it's Final Fantasy VI in Japan. This was James' annual Christmas episode, and I mean, he's basically doing a game walkthrough, right? Like, there's not really any jokey angle. He's literally just explaining the characters and gameplay. At one point towards the end of the episode, for seemingly no reason, some dude in a Santa costume shows up. James strikes an extreme cuck face, and then, surprise, surprise, kicks Santa's ass. But it wasn't a full, drawn-out brawl like all the Mike Matei interactions in the past. This skit lasted all of 30 seconds, and he was back to his game walkthrough. You could see the little seedlings of a plot that would have been more involved and fleshed out if this had been AVGN of 10 years ago, but James is in his lazy dad arc of the character and didn't have the time to do anything more than just couch scenes and gameplay footage. Most of the nerd episodes this year have been very basic and low effort, with the exceptions of Indiana Jones and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The Indiana Jones episode was probably the most tolerable, and Jekyll and Hyde was the least for many reasons. First, why is he talking about this game again? Second, why has his acting gotten so damn cringy?
Because there's no way I could sum up this total desecration of the NES library. It's cursed, it's unholy. Nobody wants to play Jekyll and Hyde.
So that pretty much sums up the angry video game nerd episodes of 2023. Then we get to the next category of Cinemassacre videos, and that would be the, hey, remember how all of you missed James and Mike Mondays? Well, Mike said fuck all that noise, so here's this random guy, John, who is apparently my neighbor. Also known as Neighbor Nerds. Yes, James is back on the couch playing video games to supplement the vacuum of space between nerd episodes and to fulfill his brand obligations. But hey, at least we got a 2-second introduction this time as to who this other guy actually is.
Hey, what's up? This is my buddy John.
Okay, so whatever, James and some Italian guy from the neighborhood recreate the James and Mike Monday formula, and yeah, fine. That's great. To be honest, I never gave a shit about James and Mike Mondays, and I don't give a shit about James and Tony Tuesdays. I don't particularly like watching people play video games, and James's energy level when he's off script are equal to that of a bored father who is forced to watch his stepson's Little League game. That John guy seems just kind of happy to be there and hang out, and I don't know. I haven't watched enough of these videos to really have anything to say about that John guy one way or another, so I guess I'll decide just this once to not be a dick. So aside from AVGN, the next staple in the Cinemassacre universe is, of course, Monster Madness. This occurs around Halloween every year, where James reviews a TV show or movie that has something to do with horror, Halloween, or plagiarism. This year has been a bunch of TV shows having to do with Halloween, and yeah, it was fine, I guess. All the locks at the Screenwave office have been changed since the firing of Newt, so I'm assuming all these scripts for these episodes are original thoughts by somebody in the slob camp, or maybe even James himself. Like I said, I only really consume the nerd episodes, so I can't tell you the quality of these episodes. I can merely tell you that they exist. The final category of content we find on Cinemassacre in the year of our Lord 2023 are the miscellaneous episodes. These have grown to become my favorite things James does, not because they are good per se, but because of all the great content that is generated when they are bad. The three shining examples of this would be writing AVGN scripts, I'm in an FPS documentary, and the most puzzling by far, censored nerd episodes. Let me touch on this one first. About a month ago, Cinemassacre had posted the Atari Porn episode, which was an early AVGN classic, only they renamed it Atari Pork, and censored the episode in such a blatant and clumsy way that it had to be a joke.
Squeeze the juice, watch the prickles. Squeeze the juice, watch the prickles. You know, this guy just wants a pet cat, but he's pooping around and he still has the frenzy to spew pudding over yonder. That's a cactus.
So, you want to see more? You sick bass fish.
But when reading the description, it makes it seem like this is some exclusive thing we should all be excited about. Angry Video Game Nerd, episode 32 on YouTube for the first time, and with only minor censorship. Now, this has clearly got to be an ironic statement. There is so much censorship and ADR in this video that it's laughable. And on top of that, the first time I saw this episode or any other nerd episode was on YouTube, so this one must have gotten flagged after I had already seen it, because it was originally on YouTube. I've never gone to Cinemassacre to watch any of the nerd episodes. It's all about YouTube, and I clearly remember seeing this one. But anyway, they didn't stop there. About a week later, the entire first season of The Nerd was released as one big-ass, heavily censored chunk.
It's gonna take you back to the past to play the games that suck.
Alright, this time we have a guest reviewer, and I don't know, this might be kind of weird, but... Hey, come here. No, not there.
Pickle.
Hey, tell them your name.
Pickle.
Yeah, this is Pickle.
Pickle.
And
Pickle.
Pickle's
Pickle.
Pickle's gonna...
This is just a god-awful abomination. This must have cost hundreds of hours of re-editing, and they didn't even catch all the swear words.
Maybe the control's so shitty because the programmers were trying to make Chew seem drunk.
This is easily the most confusing thing Screenwave has done in recent memory. And why put all that work into censoring every swear word just to release it as one long 2.5-hour video? Why not break it up into individual episodes? Who the fuck is going to want to binge watch the censored version of the first season of AVGN? I'd rather stick a big black banana up my chimney than subject myself to that. And the choice of using those loud-ass beeps instead of just silencing the swears makes it so much worse. Apparently, the logic behind this was that YouTube had started cracking down on channels that swear or show content that is deemed inappropriate. Back in November of last year, YouTube changed its policy on swearing, but didn't tell anybody, which is very unlike YouTube. They're known for their transparency and straightforwardness. Supposedly, the new rule is that if you swear within the first 18 seconds of your video, that video could get possibly limited or demonetized when it comes to advertisers. And since most of James's videos are easily dropping the F-bomb within the first 18 seconds, Screenwave found that they had a little problem on their hands. But after checking all of my videos that I've done over the years, I found that actually, yes, some of my videos are also getting either restricted or demonetized due to the content in the video. Thankfully, they're none of my big earners, but James, who's been putting out successful high-earning videos for over a decade now, is going to be losing a nice chunk of change given these new restrictions. I guess I can't really fault Cinemassacre for doing this weird censored version, although I don't think anyone's gonna watch it. This is more of an indictment on YouTube and how fucking lame this platform has become since it started catering to its advertisers. The second miscellaneous video that generated some heat was the Writing AVGN Scripts video, where James breaks down his tricks of the trade for writing scripts. To me, this video felt kind of like a guy getting high off of his own farts. Throughout most of the video, he's basically praising many of the lines he used in the golden age of AVGN and follows it up with, "I don't know how I came up with that. It just kind of happened, and it was hilarious."
Reminds me of how people laugh at my lines. There's no magic formula to know ahead of time what's going to be funny. When I say things like, "All that for a pizza? Pizza shit," or "This game sucks ass through a straw," I'm just going for it and hope it gets a laugh.
Red Cow took and ran with this video as well, which was definitely worth a watch. We kind of learned through this video, I guess, also that Kieran quit and is no longer working with the channel. So that's one slob down. How many more to go? Who can really know that? I didn't even know who the fuck Newt was until he plagiarized something. So I don't know. I'm not keeping up with the number of slobs on the team these days. By the way, Frankie is very aware that this video exists. So then finally, James uploaded his I'm in an FPS documentary video, and it was literally just a commercial promoting some documentary that James had a cameo in.
So it is my great pleasure to introduce you to the ultimate documentary on that, FPS, first-person shooter. Only available at this price for a limited time through the link in my description exclusively.
I think most people went to this video thinking it was a new original piece of content, only to find out that he was using his platform as one big advertisement. And the Screenwave industrial complex just chugs right along. So that's Cinemassacre in 2023. James has essentially kept his word in regards to...
This channel is all about remembering a simpler time. And if that's the kind of stuff you want to see, well, stay tuned.
The channel itself feels a lot more pared down, and the content is more of what it used to be before there were podcasts and rental reviews and all this other random bullshit with complete strangers. With all that being said, though, I don't ever see a scenario where any of this will ever be fresh again. I almost want to interview someone who still feels like James's content is just as good as it's ever been and ask them what kind of drugs they're on, because there are thousands of people out there who still want and need James to produce those nerd episodes, or for James to play video games lackadaisically with his bodyguard. But for me, it is beyond stale, and I'm watching now more out of curiosity than enjoyment, but that's just me. What do you think of Cinemassacre's output this year? Was it better? Was it worse? Let me know in the comments below, and until next time, have a good rest of your night.